Time now for our rants and raves, starting with Dana Kennedy.
I have a rant for George Stephanopoulos of ABC News. Stephanopoulos had Kellyanne Conway on for a 5-minute interview following President Trump's decision to pull out of the Paris climate change agreement. And they discussed a range of issues. But toward the end, he asked her, and I mean, she's got credibility problems anyway. He asked her 3 times if President Trump still believes that climate change is a hoax. And she refused to answer. But I'm thinking, you know, first of all, you can just roll tape of him saying it's a Chinese hoax. He has said that. Is she supposed to read his mind? If you're going to have Kellyanne Conway on, ask her about things that she might reasonably know something about, instead of asking her to read President Trump's mind.
Well, it's not even reading his mind. It's like...
It was ridiculous.
But I think all of Trump's spokespeople are in a very difficult position, because the truth is he says one thing one day and something else the next. And so they're being asked to go out there and whether it's read his mind or predict what's coming next. And I know Kellyanne, I think she's doing thankless work, really. I think she's doing a very good job trying to put forward the best face on a boss who's probably extremely difficult to keep on script and to keep on message.
She's been under wraps herself.
Well, we know what she thinks of them, don't we?
But certainly,
exactly.
I mean, part of that,
All right, Jennifer, you're up.
So I have a rant and a rave. My rant is for the constant drumbeat of coverage we've had on the so-called Trump campaign Russia collusion story. And the reason I think there's too much coverage of this is because basically there hasn't been anything new on this story since October. We know from James Clapper and other people involved in the investigation that there has been no smoking gun evidence or evidence at all of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. We also know, although the media isn't reporting it, that actually collusion isn't even a crime, right? So the media throws out this word every day, collusion, 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 to try to get the American people to think that there's been criminal activity here. Collusion, it's not a crime for a campaign to talk with agents of a foreign government about the dissemination of information. If that even happened, we don't know that it did. It might be stupid, it might be unsavory, not a crime. The investigation that's pending at the FBI is a counterintelligence investigation. So what they're trying to do is gather facts and data about what the heck the Russians are up to. But they are not looking into, when they say someone's a person of interest, they're not looking into whether Jared Kushner committed a crime. That's not even on the table. And the media has refused to provide that context, with the exception, and here's my rave, of Kimberly Strassel of the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, yeah, that was a little off the beam, too, though. And I'm actually going to agree with you, and I felt the same way about the Hillary emails. I was overdone. All right, Josh.
I'll rant about Google. Google makes about 90% of its revenue from advertising. It controls 50% of the entire digital advertising market in the United States. And Chrome, its browser, its web browser, has about 60% of the market. This week, Google said for the first time that it's going to be adding an ad blocker automatically turned on into Chrome. In other words, deciding on its own whose other ads it can turn off. Now, I don't know what the Trump administration's approach or what the Obama administration's approach would be to antitrust, but when you have this enormous company that controls this huge of a share of the advertising market, this huge of a share of the web browser market, and is deciding on its own what ads the New York Times can show.
That's interesting, because I got a notice from somebody saying I was blocking them, and I said, no, I'm not, but it must have been them.
The fact that Google would be able to take this under their power and essentially decide, I'm sorry, publisher, you can't show these ads, is at the very least a lot of gall.
That is outrageous.
It is. All right, Dan.
I have a rant and a rave. The rant is against all the sports reporters who were really jumping to conclusions in the Tiger Woods story. Before they knew really what had happened, they were coming out and making all these accusations about him driving and drinking alcohol. One even saying that part of the problem was that the alcohol industry has been opposing stricter DUI measures and punishment. So way over the top. So that's my rant against these sports reporters. But my rave is for Tim Wood. He's a contributor at Forbes. And he wrote a great article where he said, Tiger Woods rushed to judgment, sad moment for the decline in media morals. And he says, the talking heads are all giving opinions on a developing story without the full facts. Yeah. And I think that's so true. This is not in defense of Tiger Woods, but as a reporter, you have to report the facts that are in front of you. And when additional facts come out, then you can have those conclusions.
Okay, great. All right, well, I have a rave tonight for CNN, who made the long needed decision to axe comedian Kathy Griffin from their show at their annual New Year's Eve broadcast. This, of course, in the wake of that very funny skit she did where she pulled up a severed head of an image of Donald Trump and posted it on some website. I don't even know where it went. And she apologized for it and everything. But, she's always said that she will never apologize for anything she does as a comedian because that's what she does. It's not, but this time she did admit it across the line. I mean, there's just no way that Anderson Cooper could have stood there with her again. Mm-hmm. And I thought she was inappropriate before, grabbing at his crotch and doing all these. I mean, really, it was embarrassing. So, bye, Kathy. Yeah. And she's on some kind of a rehab tour already. She was holding a press conference today. I don't know.